Congresswoman, I want to get from you, first of all, the biggest difference you saw that you took away from the new chair from her predecessor, Janet Yellen.
Well, let me just say that we had Chairman Powell in committee today, and he answered all of the questions that were asked of him. He talked about kind of carrying on in the manner that Janet Yellen had done. He seemed very comfortable, and I think the members felt that he was cooperative for the most part. A lot of the questions that were asked of him were questions that were not exactly monetary policy, and he was able to try and help people understand what they do have the power and influence to do and what they don't have the power to do. So I think he conducted himself very well, and I'm looking forward to working with him. And of course, I'm going to be interested in whether or not he's going to implement Dodd-Frank reforms.
Right.
That's what I think, our charge and our challenge is.
You had a very specific line of questioning for the new chairman. You were seeking to widen the circle of prospective candidates for the Fed board, for the Fed presidents. From where you sit, what does the ideal candidate for the New York Fed president look like? Because Bill Dudley will be stepping down soon.
Well, let me just say that I've been interested in diversity in all of financial services, but particularly with the Fed. And so the questions that I asked today is about the opportunity to certainly do some outreach and seek out people of color, folks who have not normally seemingly had an opportunity to have that kind of a position. And I wanted to know, would he be supportive of that? And if it did not appear that they had done the kind of outreach, that they were looking for the kind of people that would help bring about some diversity, would he reject it? Would he not support it? And so he talked about the fact that he believed that in the past even they have done outreach. They've considered people who came from various backgrounds, and I challenged that a bit. And I asked about whether or not he could share with us the kind of outreach they have done. And I also asked if we could make recommendations. And so he agreed to both.
Congresswoman, I want to move on actually and talk about some comments that you made over the weekend. You were speaking to California Democrats at the party's annual convention, and you said that you were it's time to get ready for impeachment, and that you were waiting and counting down for Robert Mueller to connect the dots here. You know, I speak to Democrats who are just frustrated with the talk about impeachment, and they want the Democratic Party to focus more on its own issues rather than continuing to try and batter the Republicans here. Your response?
Well, I think what you're talking about is the approach that I have taken dealing with this president. I started early on identifying the Kremlin clan that we call them. And in that Kremlin clan, we told them that Manafort and Flynn and Wilbur Ross, all of these people were very key to what we felt was some interaction with the Republicans and with the Russians. And we also talked about the possibility that they had been involved in some collusion. And so we have been on this. We even talked about all of the money laundering, and we brought up the issue of Deutsche Bank, and we talked about what we thought had been money laundering through the Cyprus Bank, et cetera. So we've been on this for a long time. My staff, even though they're not equipped to do extensive investigation, had done quite a bit. Learning about what we call the Kremlin clan and the individuals who were involved in the Trump campaign, and some of whom are now in the cabinet, et cetera, et cetera. So I talked about that at the Democratic Convention, and I did say that I am very pleased with what Mueller is doing, that he's doing a very good job, and I do believe that he will connect the dots, and it will lead to not only the revelation that there was collusion, but also obstruction of justice.